Welcome to Thursday Live Meditation with Prajna, and I'm Prajna. So, we have a lot to cover today in this particular program. I had a very sincere and wonderful question. Several came, but one that stands out that's going to be addressed today is meditation beneficial to your health? So, and how can it support illness, and how can it help us feel more alive and well in our bodies? And another part that I'm going to add to that, which is the essential aspect of meditation, which I teach, is that it enables us to return to a sense of wholeness. And from this sense of wholeness, which is our original nature, then the multifaceted jewel of who we are, essentially at our core, before all conditioning, before any illness, any wounding, before trauma, before stress, before disconnect and checking out, before any kind of splitting off from ourselves and hiding. All of that is layered, becomes layered over on top of an already whole nature with nothing missing. Absolutely nothing is missing. What you are is already enough. Our essential nature is unwounded. So, in that, this means that anybody can meditate. You don't need any specific training. In fact, the less technique that is involved, the better. So, what I want to encourage in this meditation is to allow yourself to be a beginner, as if you've never meditated before. And think of meditation just as a time to sit and be with yourself, to simply sit. So, right now, here we are sitting. And you feel your body. So, as you sit like this, you can feel your breath. So, what we're doing is we're allowing attention to move away from anything that might be distracting us in our external surroundings. We're kind of turning that aside for now and letting your attention fall inward, just in a very kind of gentle, simple way, like this. Just allow your eyes to close and let yourself be here. So you're attending to whatever is happening right now. So just close your eyes and let yourself just be here as you are, without any effort to change anything. And what you may immediately notice, especially if you're new to sitting or have been challenged or very busy in some kind of commotion in life, is that at first it might seem that the body, mind, emotional system is very loud. So we're not going to try to change anything about that. Now, for others who have had some experience sitting and allowing things to be as they are, it might be different, and anything in between. So here, just taking a nice long deep breath and sensing into yourself amidst any commotion, any movement that might be happening in the body-mind system, that within you there is a space of calm, a resource of quiet. It's as if we have a foreground, which is the objects as they appear in awareness. This part of you that is noticing thought, feeling, sensation, energy, whatever might be happening in your body. Let's refer to that now as the foreground of your experience. And come with me, and I want you to slip behind, before, beneath, as a field of noticing, as a field of awareness. You see, without this awareness, you wouldn't even know that thought was happening or that you had sensations and feelings in your body. You wouldn't be aware of any of the occurrences in life. So this awareness is already here. It's not something that you need to look for or achieve or accomplish or something to progress toward. More so, it's this kind of backward slipping into you as an open field of noticing. So in a sense, it's a offering of no resistance to the objects, the occurrences that are happening in your awareness. And what I mean by that is not trying to change thought in the way of hooking onto it, trying to make it different. This idea that maybe you should have a particular types of thoughts happening and some shouldn't be happening. But these are just objects coming and going in the field of awareness. And you may notice that if you do not stick or attend to thought, don't give it any importance. Just let it pass by as it does. It's as if these are objects of awareness, rising and falling in this wider space of you. Because you're not an object. There are thoughts, there are sensations, feelings, energy, maybe parts of your body that feel very open and alive with energy. And maybe there are parts that feel uncomfortable, perhaps with contractions or tightness. So these are all experiences. And when we don't identify with them, we allow any sense of identifying with these occurrences that are happening in the awareness of you, in the awareness that you are this wider space that I'm referring to as the background, the beforeground, the underground. So notice that already, if there was commotion, that it might have slowed down. So there may even be more space between thoughts. And let thought crack open. Let feeling crack open. Let sensations crack open. Let the body crack open. Just by relaxing and offering absolutely no resistance to the occurrences in this space of awareness. You are this awareness. Let yourself recede, recede, recede. Now, there isn't anything like succeeding or failing when you sit like this. That would be an interpretation. So, if you notice the interpreting mechanism of mind, you just let that open and move. Let the critic open and move. Any part that feels like it's judging your experience. And this can happen from a quality that's very natural to you. Quality of softness, kindness. So you wouldn't be here if your questions in life did not become so significant around health, wellness, perhaps connection and belonging. Now, when these questions come, we're ready to experience a deeper meaning in life. So, meditation brings us into a space that is very capable of clearing the filters in which we view life from. And as our space of perceiving, where we perceive life from, is clarified, is cleared, with that comes a deeper understanding and direct experience of who and what we essentially are. So wonderful. Feel yourself settling into this yearning for a deeper meaning in life, a meaning that allows life's wounds to be healed, or anything that is out of balance to come into balance, and allows us to see from a clarity in which we can make positive choices toward change, toward transforming our health, our relationships, our way of being in life. So continue to settle so you feel yourself more as this space that is yielding to whatever's arising within it. You're not laying claim, not identifying as any aspect of what's arising in you to be held as a limitation, as an identity. Because essentially, when we hold any object of perception as an identity, and we perceive from there, and we limit who the experience of who we are. We limit our capacity to experience life in a way that is rich with meaning. So stay here, and in this perceiving, you allow the shackles, however our physical vision may have distorted reality by believing what it sees through the physical eyes to be itself, rather than to be a reflection of a wider field of awareness, where these objects of perception come and they go. They don't carry meaning about your essential nature as already whole, already enough. And we have to consider when we're exploring our well-being, our wholeness, we have to consider that all through our development, from early childhood that we've gathered and absorbed language, language that can be confining, can orient us to believe that the labels that we've collected or learned about define us. So, language is a very powerful construct, and meditation allows the languaging of labels, the languaging of conditions, conditioning to break down. So, this is one of the, well, not only the first, is one of the many things that happens in meditation, is these labels that have been collected in early childhood and throughout all of life, from family, from caregivers, from school, from religion, society, culture, from the media, allows these constructs of language to, first off, to see what are the labels that you have gathered, identified with, and believed to be true about you. So we get to allow these constructs to be seen from a wide space. It's just an exploration of examining. If you were told something repeatedly and in early childhood, like for an example, to not express strong feelings or sadness or anger or any other kind of feeling, maybe even joy. And in that, you learn to contain and suppress the emotional, excuse me, your emotional being, your emotional aliveness, or there was some kind of very, very upsetting, conflicted experience or abusive, traumatic experience, all kinds of experiences that happen all throughout life. And since you learn to suppress emotion, then that might turn out to be a habit. And with that, many sorts of beliefs can filter over top, act as a filter to your essential nature that exists already within you always as wholeness, unwounded. So in meditation, these layers that we filter our experience through, then that becomes how we perceive life. And that's not bad or wrong. It just might mean that we carry within us pockets of unresolved emotion and feeling that then will create particular, it might repeat patterns in life and create similar experiences throughout life. And at first, we may have a capacity to adapt, but over time, these adaptations wear down over the stress of life, the challenges that are presented in life. And when early experience isn't given an opportunity to resolve itself, it can often show up then as an ailment, an illness, a pain, a flavor of energy that we carry. So just take that in for a moment. And if you've listened to me before, have a sense of what I'm speaking to. And this is a process of unpacking and unraveling undigested experience, giving it a chance to digest, to assimilate, to heal, to clear. So the meditation will detoxify what we've collected emotionally and mentally through our conditioning. And then we form, without this, we form, you know, an identity that has a kind of flavor to it, like a flavor of perhaps someone who has a feeling of being depressed or burdened or lonely or unengaged or bored or over agitated or anxious. You know, there's kind of then a flavor within the body, mind, emotional system that keeps the system running in a way that is looking for peace, wholeness, wellness. And this is the good thing, that within all of us at the core, we have a deep knowing. We know when we're being authentic. We know when we're being real. We know when we're in alignment with something that feels really true. So essentially, meditation is stepping back into this original wholeness, the stillness that is experienced anytime you're not offering resistance to whatever life is bringing. And you let yourself sit here and allow the filters of perception to clear, to clear. And in doing so, over time, sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly, doesn't matter, but you start to experience more and more space in the field of you. At first, it might feel a little bit crowded, cluttered, or confused. Mm, Let that be okay, of course. Of course. So, non resistance to whatever's happening in you is absolute stillness. You just sink, recede, settle as stillness, and allow for the power of awareness as you are already to clear the debris, to open perception. So rather than perceiving yourself as an object, as thought or as feeling or as sensation, or as a part of your body, as a memory or an experience, those are all objects. You're the perceiving. So without interpretation, without forming any conclusions about yourself, you continue to recede here. You as awareness is never an object. The objects coming, objects of perception, allow them to come and go. You don't have to make any decisions about anything. So here, with complete and utter non-resistance, there is a great rest, very deep resting that happens. And in these times, right now, when there are so many distractions, so much that can call attention and can create a energy of stress in the body, mind, emotional system, stress, anxiety, agitation, running. Here, all of that can find its solace its resting space. So you don't have to figure anything out. You don't have to wonder, am I doing this right? Am I doing it wrong? Will this even be beneficial? So perhaps there's an element of faith or trust that if you just let yourself fall out of commotion, fall out of the stressors in life, fall out of seeking, of fixing, of making yourself right, making somebody wrong, blaming, all the different ways in which we go to war with life, with illness, with different people. You just offer yourself to rest. It's almost as if you're holding up your white flag into the breeze of life that can be moving so rapidly sometime, sometime. And you settle here. I surrender here. I give myself to the peace that is here, to the rest and solace that is always within me, to the wholeness that I am. And we don't need to hold this as a positive affirmation or concept or any kind of belief. You just fall here where there is no belief, before positive affirmations, before conclusions. This is enough. You are enough, already whole. So rest here with me. Let's all rest here together, connected in a multiplicity of ways beneath the surface, always beneath the surface. Come here beneath the surface. Perceive from here. Let the way that you respond to life, the way that you behave in life, let it come from this space of perceiving, of rest, of connection and alignment with all things. Before, during, and after. Don't wait to know this, to know that this is who and what you are. It's never too late, and you also don't want to wait. Come home now. Come all the way home and experience yourself as whole. And allow yourself to be well, to be happy, to join yourself here. I want to say a couple of more things before ending this part of the call, which is a very huge conversation in and of itself. But I want to give a few key pointers about something that I think is really, really important when it comes to health and well being and experiencing your wholeness and being able to really, truly live from here, from this potential, that doesn't happen all at once. Awakening is the beginning of a discovery, of a huge exploration of our capacity as human beings to live from a sense of wholeness, to feel ourselves as undivided, to belong to who we are, and to feel connected to all things. This is a capacity that we all have, and it's a process that the awakening, initially being able to, it shows itself to different people in many different ways. But essentially, you could say it's no longer identifying with yourself as an object of perception. The identity as a form, and everything that you learned about yourself as a form. That there's that identity, that hooking, that belief, that fixation breaks open, and perception opens, and you begin to feel yourself as something more, something much more complete. And you're not locked in and fixated on thoughts, whether they be positive, negative, or anything else. That thought is free. And another essential part of that, it doesn't mean that thought is no longer happening. Thought has a very practical value to it. And when you're not fixated on thought, then you can use thought for what its purpose is. I mean, this whole computer technology all came out of thought. So we need thought. But to be fixated on the beliefs that are formed and accumulated over time, then we're prone to suffer. So thought can continue, but we no longer suffer about it. We no longer hook, line, and sinker and get taken, absorbed into a train of thought that might sound very familiar, sometimes come out of it and into it, and then suffer as a result of it. So you could say that's one way in which awakening shows up, and then what from that opening, and then being able to be the space of observation, of perception, then all of the unresolved aspects of our humanity, of our conditioning, can be seen. So to see something is to really be able to meet it in a way that it's understood. as something that is false and no longer serves so that it can be let go of. And along with that, then there may be a process of healing that happens, of detoxification, of transformation, of shifting, of realigning with your values. So when we're unconscious, we might not even be clear of what our value is or what holds meaning in life. But as these doors and windows start to open of perception, then we start to sharpen with discernment and with this ability to hone in on what brings meaning to our life. What takes us out of the drama, the surface. And then we learn. It's a learning, we're unlearning conditioning and we're learning. And it takes time for some of us to learn how to behave and to respond from a place that isn't cluttered and that is in alignment with our wholeness that brings meaning. So, the point that I wanted to get at is what's essential in all of this is that for much of the Western culture and in our psychic, there's a collective field, you could say, of that gets carried and perhaps passed down through generations. And it may have come originally from religion or, who knows what, to be able to trace it all the way back. But it's clear to me in my work with people and, in myself as well, and all of the different retreats that I've facilitated and healings for people, that there's a core wounding, you can say, which it kind of shows itself. It's a flavor, you could say, an underlying flavor of unworthiness. And it covers over our value, our sense of worth. And this is something really important to tune, to let yourself notice the behaviors that stem out of a sense of unworthiness. And you can see it a lot in our cultures, and we can see it all over in our families. And then what gets passed on from generation to generation, and then shows up in ways of not attending to ourselves. So there's a huge learning curve in learning how to care for yourself, how to allow life to break you open so much in the heart, perhaps over and over again, so that the heart cracks open and open and open, and these layers of flavors of behaviors and protection and shielding and pain and everything that kind of keeps us at a distance from loving ourselves, from attending and caring in a very deep way for ourselves, and settling and listening to our worthiness. And you could say that sometimes that comes as a grace, as a grace, a moment of grace where we know that we are loved, that we are love. It's like a redemptive love where all is forgiven, meaning all is forgiven within ourselves and all is forgiven within our lineage, within the generations that have gone before. That whatever was passed on to us was passed on from unconsciousness, and unconsciousness behind that, and unconsciousness behind that, that not any um, person in our lineage, caregiver or parent, all the people that are important to us that we need, that especially needed when we were very young, that they didn't make an independent, conscious decision to not care for you, perhaps in a particular way that you needed as a young child or all throughout that childhood. So humanity happens, and perhaps lack of worthiness was passed on and then believed and absorbed in your system. So we have to keep showing up for life as we are and, take a chance to let the layers peel back, crack open so the light can get in and we can re experience this deeper core beneath all core wounding, this deepest wholeness at the core of who we are, which is worthiness and self love and care and wholeness. So I wanted to say that because I want you to allow yourself to be grace prone, so to speak. And that doesn't happen if we're in hiding, if we're not allowing ourselves to participate in life, because life is the arena in which we get to bump up against each other and we get to see, where we're holding, what we're hiding, what is being suppressed. And then when we can slow down and use this form of meditation that I was given to you earlier to just soften and offer no resistance, it's a humility in a way to bow into yourself, to put up your white flag and say, I surrender, I dive here, I give, I give, I let go. I allow myself to be broken open so that my light can shine. So that's your homework. I'm going to be gone from this live network for about a month, and I'll miss you. And I'll be spending more time with my family and working on what's coming up in the fall for what I have to share with all of you. So there are some retreats that you can still book in Europe. So just go to my website for shamanic healing retreats that are also interwoven. The foundation of all of these retreats are silence, this deep stillness. There's some very potent meditations, lots of healing happens, lots of deep integration, and more than anything else is a sense of connecting and belonging that doesn't only happen on retreat, but then we take that with us and we able to share that with all that we meet. So I invite you to join us and go to awakeningprajna.com. If you enjoy these videos, you can subscribe to my channel, like, comment, share, and feel free to send questions and emails like the one that was sent here. And I hope that this is all helpful. And with very much love and connection, take good care. Namaste.